The participants in this video are myself, Andrea Schmidt, and Emma, my friend's daughter, who is 7-year-old, who will be playing the part of Sean, who is a 5-year-old. The purpose of this video is to show how you can introduce an iPad to a child with different diagnoses, and also show a communication board example that you can find in the App Store. The one I got was actually for free. And then there's also a short section in this video that is on modifications of the iPad. The client factors for my case is a 5-year-old boy named Sean. He has mild spastic quadriplegia. He was premature. He had low birth weight, low vision. He has hearing problems, a recent diagnosis of mild seizure disorder. He has extensive articulation problems, a slightly below average IQ, and limited range of motion in arms and legs. The previous occupational therapy he's had helped him get fitted with bilateral canes, which he still uses, a manual wheelchair, and a simple picture board that he's getting frustrated with, and he's outgrowing quickly. That brings me to the presenting problem. He's having a lot of trouble with his picture board. It's getting too simple for him. He wants to communicate a little bit more. And also we want to work on range of motion and help him a little bit get into school with the lower IQ. The device I chose for him was an iPad, and I chose this because, one, there's great communication boards on there that you can find. Some are free, some are quite expensive, but there's always funding. And also it grows with him, so when he gets older you can change the apps to make harder communication boards, or you can upload games that will help him in his schooling, and he can actually use that for school as a communication device or to take notes or something like that. So that is why I chose the iPad. The goals that I addressed in treatment were to teach him how to turn on the iPad, how to navigate through it, and find the communication board, and then simply using the communication board to tell his parents what he wants and answer questions for them. So, here we go with the video. Alright, Sean, we're going to go ahead and get started today. I'll wheel you over here to our table. Alright, just to let you know, I have a little bit of a cold today, so my voice is going to sound a little froggy. But today we're going to be working on the iPad. I brought that here for you. And we talked about this last time you were here with me. And you talked about having some difficulty getting across what you wanted to say to your parents and stuff. So we're going to work on that. I'll show you some examples, and then I'll talk to your mom and dad a little bit about how much it costs and stuff like that. Alright, so what you need to do when you first buy one is to charge it up, and then you can download some apps. I have 2 or 3 communication boards that I'm going to work with you on today. So once it's all charged up, if you have a case, you'll just open it up, and then you see this button right here? That's what you're going to press to turn it on. So you want to press that button for me? Good job. Alright, now we're going to go into this app right here. Want to press that one for me again? Great job. So there's going to be different things in here. For example, this one says eat. If you press that, it says eat. Over here, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit because that's kind of loud. So, for example, if you were getting hungry and you wanted to tell your mom or dad that you wanted to eat, you just go ahead and you press that. Good job. Alright, and then there's these other signs on here. There's some like doctor or medicine. Maybe you need some of your medicine your parents forgot, or go to the doctor because you're not feeling good. And these are also yes and no. The check mark with the green is yes, and the red here is the no. So if they were to ask you a question like, do you feel sick? You would hit the right answer.
Yes.
If you were feeling sick, that's what you'd hit for the day. And that goes with anything else. And there's also different boards that you can put onto here. For example, some sports ones, or if you wanted to watch TV, you could put that on here. So a little bit about the iPad. depending on what one you get, it can be up to $500. And I also have some funding information here. You can take that, Mom. And that shows you different ways that you can get some money and things like that to help you pay for it. Sometimes they'll actually buy the entire iPad for you. You just need to fill out some forms and everything. There are some safety concerns that we need to pay attention to while using the iPad. And for example, I know you're diagnosed with a seizure disorder, but if it's not triggered by flashing lights or sounds or something like that, there's really nothing you need to worry about. But always keep an eye on that if that were to happen. Then there's also many different adaptations. You want to press this button again for me, and that'll take us, yep, that one. That'll take us right to home, and then we can look at the settings on here. There's many different settings. So sometimes you're having some difficulty seeing it. You'd go General. Yeah, I'll move it over here so you can see it a little bit better. And then there's accessibility here. There's zoom. This is where you can zoom in on the screen. I'll show you on an app here. Let's see if I can find one. Here, I'll just go into the internet. See, when I bring my fingers apart, it makes it really big, so it's easier for you to see. We'll go back into settings here. There's voiceover. What that is when you select a text, it'll just read it to you what it says, so that you don't have to read it yourself. Invert colors, I can show you what that looks like right here. Maybe. There we go. It changes the colors a little bit so that the background is black and the front is white, so that it's a little bit easier to see for you. Put it back to normal. There's speak auto text and large type, which is just as it says, but everything that's written on here is a lot bigger. You can increase the contrast. You can turn on and off labels. And what I really like here is the guided access. That is for Mom and Dad if they want to turn on a certain app and you want Sean to stay in that specific app. All you have to do is turn that on, and then if you were to hit some other buttons like home or something similar to that, it would stay in the app to keep him concentrated on that app. So that's basically what that does. So we'll go back into this one, give you another try. There's also, I'll show you this. This is for when you're a little bit older. This brings you the keyboard, and once you learn how to spell and everything, you can write things like that. You can write hi on there. If you want to tell someone something, you can turn it, or you can write it. And then there's other ones on here like toilet if you needed to use the bathroom, or lights if you want them on or off. Tissue if you need that. Your glasses, I see that you're not wearing them right now, but if you had lost them or something, someone could help you find them. And then the yes and no, which we talked about earlier, and family. So we talked about the different adaptations and everything, and then if you'd like, if you do happen to get one of these, there are also different apps that you can put onto here. For example, there's ones that you can learn. You can practice your math or your spelling and things like that. And there's also some games that you can play just for fun. Do you like that? Yeah? Alright, so you did very good today. And just so you know, if you do have a hard time seeing this, what I use, this is a 2 or 3 inch binder. What we use a lot of times with kids is we'll put this on here to give it a little bit of a slant. Sometimes if it's bigger it helps. And it kind of just takes away a little bit of the glare, so that helps. Alright, and we'll see, maybe there's an example of a game in here that you'd be able to play. Here's one that a lot of kids like, Candy Crush. Once you get it loaded in here, I'll show you a little bit how it works. Once we get on here. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 or 3 colors together. For example, I see one's right here. Oh, actually you switch them. I haven't played this one in a while. There we go, just like that. Alright, so you want to give that a try for a little bit? So you match up the colors. Yep, good job. Very good. So there's other games like this. For this one we're working on color matching and things like that. Got the level already, good work. And there's some ones geared towards specific disabilities and things like that, diagnoses and that. So, alright, you did very good today. We're gonna just close this out. Do you want to hit this button again for me, the home button? Good job. And then we'll flip this closed and it'll shut off all by itself. And then if you need to, you can always charge it up after every time you use it. So today we looked at how to turn it on. You learned that. You were very good at that. We looked at the picture board, some examples and stuff like that. Now, next time I'm going to have you bring the iPad along and we're going to see how well you're doing with the communication board. If you need a different one, we'll get one that's a little bit harder if you need to. One that has quite a few more options. And then also I know you talked about the Rift and tricycle, that you wanted to ride that bike. So we'll see if we can get you hooked up with one of those. There's also funding information that I'll bring along next time for that. So that's what we'll be working on next time. Alright, I'll wheel you out to your parents here and we'll be all done. Alright, I'll see you next time, Sean. Conclusion on how this experience benefited me as a student learner and prepared me to deliver occupation-based treatments with future clients. Doing this case study has taught me a lot about quadriplegia in children and adults for my research. I learned a lot about modifying the iPad, how to change the settings to make it easier for people to see, especially inverting the colors and the large text and things like that. I also learned about the guided access. That's a really nice feature that they have on the iPad. I didn't know that even existed before, and it's great to use with children. I also learned more on how to run a treatment session. That helped me a lot because when you're a student you don't really run treatments that often, so it's nice to kind of pretend to do that. I also had to learn how to do a one-way conversation. My client didn't talk much. He was shy and had trouble speaking altogether, so he didn't really talk to me that much, so I was kind of telling him and I had to keep talking without getting any feedback from him, which was quite difficult, but I made it through. I had to plan out the time spent during the treatment session. That's always a problem for me. I need to plan more than I think I'm actually going to get through, because I always end up going through things faster, and then there's extra time at the end where I need to figure out what we're going to do for that time. So that's something that I learned I need to work on. I also learned how to write goals for a future session. Like, I'm used to writing goals that need to be finished within like a week or two, but this goal needed to be finished within about 10 or 15 minutes. So overall, I learned quite a bit doing this case study, and I really like doing these projects where you get to pretend, well, not really pretend, but run a treatment session that's not real. I guess it is pretending, sorry. So yeah, that is my conclusion.